So obviously one of the themes today was about cybersecurity, and this panel we're going to talk about rethinking about cybersecurity. So 2014 was dubbed as the year of the hack, right? With all the security breaches that we saw, Home Depot, Target, JP Morgan, of course, Sony. But what did we really learn from 2014? And we really learned from 2014 what we should have learned from 2012 or 2013 is the best way that adversaries want to attack us is by compromising a user's account, preferably a privileged user's account. When you attack an account and get a compromised account, they don't have to worry about low-level forensics of dealing with drives or dealing with the core operating system. They get a nice UI incorporated to them. And the reason they're able to do this is typically because of passwords, right? Malware, phishing, sophisticated phishing, right? Some spear phishing where they do some research about who they're understanding, befriend you on your social networks, understand what you're interested in. Just by a show of hands, who still just uses username password? Yeah? Yeah. I think as an industry as a whole, we're still using username password. And some have, take a step forward to use things like SMS, which can also be socially engineered pretty easily. And what we learned also, James from PayPal mentioned it today, that as part of our core DNA as human beings, we can only remember one password, right? So my password for my Facebook is probably my password for my Netflix, which is probably my password for my corporate email, etc. People acknowledge that this is a problem. We're committed to making passwords actually go away, right? And I think now for the first time we actually have technologies to help make passwords go away. Whether it's kind of the advancements we've seen with smart cards, right? Removing the reader, like in the DoD world, the CAC reader, getting rid of those and actually smart cards that work directly with your machines. Or using other knowledge that we know about the specific users, right? What Bluetooth device may they be connected to? Are they coming from the same Wi-Fi, et cetera? And we've seen some of this with the advanced Android authentication. People also ask me often what keeps me up at night or how I sleep at night, right? And I actually tell them I sleep like a baby. I do. I wake up every couple hours and I cry. But just like the attackers are now focused on getting the accounts and coming in that way, we're really starting to see a lot more sophisticated attacks coming right at the hardware and firmware level. That way, attackers can get a persistent backdoor always back into their system. And this is something we never had to worry about before, and this keeps me up at night. And clearly, the adversary is getting smarter, and holistically, as an industry, we still haven't really solved this. This is a really big, big problem. When I was hoping to see some of these entrepreneurs today, I was hoping somebody had some new technology to solve here, but haven't heard one. So with that, I'm actually going to move it over to Rob.
Thank you for having me. My name is Rob, and I'm a security architect for Netflix. I want to talk about security automation. It's something I've spent most of my career on, most of the last 5 years, inside of the security space. I think right now is a good time to talk about it because there's a lot of things happening in the industry right now where it's going to lend itself to automation. I'm actually an architect that actually can code, so that actually helps me a lot in this. The first thing I wanted to kind of talk about was kind of learning from our adversary first. So I don't know what everybody's experience level is with what hackers actually do, but if you look at kind of how they've come about what they've done over the last 15 years, if you go back 15 years, it was a lot of really kind of advanced guys, and then there was a level of entry that to get into hacking was pretty high, and now there's entire ecosystems in the underworld. entire networks. You know, they have names like Black Hole and Zeus and all these other really, really fun things. And what they've done that's way better than us is they've productized. It was like we were talking about today. I told Aaron earlier I could have redone my entire slide because a lot of the things you're talking about today totally applies to security, and it really has applied to the underworld, and how that they've applied this methodology in order to set the bar really, really low so that a guy that doesn't really know that much about anything can spend $5,000 or $10,000, go buy a 0-day, get some time on a black hole network, and all of a sudden start owning your users. And a lot of it has to do with what Marcus had just previously talked about. And that's what you're up against. And so where that comes to us is that from a security standpoint, from an industry standpoint, we've made a lot of mistakes with that. So we're in a defensive posture, they're in an offensive posture, so we're already at a disadvantage. And one of the things I tell my CEO and a lot of my coworkers is it's a zero-sum game. I'm fighting every day just to tie. And that's not a position that you necessarily really want to be in, but if you look at all the things we've done as ourselves over the last 15 years, a lot of it ties into is we've spent money on things that we think that are going to fix us. You know, the hardware, Marcus had mentioned it previously, that we keep getting promised is going to stop it. But we don't take a look at what, like, one of the actual problems is, and it's technical and it's human. The technical side of it is the hackers are really, really smart, and they're getting more and more advanced. And they know that you can't keep up with them. We've seen that repeatedly. But what we've done to kind of counter that is just to buy more hardware, more software, and try and, you know, supplement that with more people. And that leads into automation. Why is now a good time to do it? Well, you have a lot of vendors that are coming online right now, and if you have a kind of a legacy vendor and they're any good, they're starting to open up their systems. They're no longer going to be proprietary. They see the value of providing APIs. They see the value of getting into frameworks of like Stix or Taxi. Debate is still on about whether those are actually going to work, but it's something that kind of leans into being able to do automation. And what that allows us to do as security departments, as security organization, is to productize what we do. At Netflix, we have actual developers on our security team. We don't want to hire analysts. We want to take a look at algorithms. We want to write code in order to solve the problem. Now, this isn't a panacea. It's not a utopia. What we feel is that when you take a lot of the things that you guys deal with on a daily basis, if we can remove 75 to 80% of it, that eliminates a lot of the workload that you're having to deal with that you can now assign to your more advanced people to actually look for the really hard stuff.
So I'm Rick Howard. I'm the Chief Security Officer for Palo Alto Networks, and I'm not your typical security guy, all right? It is not all fear, uncertainty, and doubt up here, right? There are interesting things going on in the industry right now that have been innovative, and advanced organizations are adopting those things, right? And the one I have here on the screen is just one of the ones I've seen in the last 5 or 6 years. We're seeing this transition with advanced organizations from the old defense in depth model to the kill chain model. How many people have heard of the kill chain model before? Okay, so some of you have, all right? So I'm an old timer. I've been doing cybersecurity for a long time. I was in the service with Marcus back in the day, right? And, you know, we pretty much invented, not the military, but back in the old day, guys like old people like me said defense in depth is the way to go. And what that means is we draw a big electronic perimeter around your enterprise, and we dump multiple security controls in the network. And the idea is to keep the bad guy out of your network. Right? And if the first control doesn't work, then the second one will stop them, then the third one, then the fourth one. So everybody's read the newspaper in the last couple of days. Do you think that's working? Okay, that hasn't worked in about 10 years, maybe 15 years. That model is broken and dead. It doesn't really work. So what has changed, though, in 2011, Lockheed Martin wrote a paper called Blump, 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 Kill Chain Model. It's up there on the page, right? And I advise you all to go read it. It's really short. 15 pages. They took this idea from the military of kill chains. So in the military, when bad guys are trying to take your hilltop, okay, there's only a certain number of ways that the bad guy can go to get to your hilltop. So the way we defend against that is you put artillery on this one, you put machine guns over here, you drop something else over here, and so we know exactly where they need to go. So the guys at Lockheed Martin said, let's take that concept and can we apply it to cyberspace? And they came up with a model that we are using now called the kill chain model. And it's basically all bad guys, regardless of what their motivation is, they basically have to do 6 things to get into your network. And they all have to do the same 6 things, regardless of what their motivation is and regardless of the techniques they use to do it. Basically, they have to recon your network, to find weaknesses. Then they have to develop a weapon that leverages those weaknesses. Then they have to deliver the weapon. They have to install it. Then they have to establish command and control back out to the internet to get more instructions. And finally, after all that, and they have to get all that done correctly, right, then they can do what they came here to do in the first place, which is steal your intellectual property or your credit card information or whatever it is. The flip of the model is, instead of trying to keep the adversary out, this paper assumed that the adversary is going to get into the kill chain at some point. And what we are successful is if we can prevent them from establishing their goal or accomplishing their goal, all right? So that is the major innovation. In advanced organizations like the Department of Defense and the financial sector are all using it now. And what I'm seeing now today is that methodology is filtering into the people that have not been doing it before. So I'm optimistic, okay? It's not all bad news. Okay, this is a model that works, and I think we should all try to adopt it.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Matthew Rosenquist. I'm a cybersecurity strategist for Intel. By show of hands, I want to know who in here is confident that your organization is secure, and not just today, but sustainably secure. Go ahead, raise your hands. What? The luminaries in this room? What happened? What happened? Right? We're leading technology. We're driving it. How did we get to this place? So I'm going to back up a little bit, right? I'm going to talk a little bit about what we've already talked about, what Marcus has talked about, intelligent attackers, right? Not so brilliant users. But they're not just to blame. We're kind of to blame too. I come from a technology company, right? We are in a business of trying to push out wonderful, beautiful, brilliant things that connect and enrich all of our lives. Right? We want to do it fast. We want to do it great. We want to make money. We want to enrich people's lives. But in doing so, we've helped create part of the problem. Now, granted, part of the problem is also the attackers, people with malicious ideas, and part of the problem is behavioral issues of people that aren't so smart just clicking away and having fun doing things, right? But how do we change it? It took us a while to get here. It's going to take us a while to get back. And it's not just removing the attackers, right? They will always be there. There is no magic black box that you can plug in. Oh, I wish there were. Right? So what has to change? Right? We have to change. The technology industry has to change. The security industry has to change. And even the end users. We all have to change. What do we have to change? Right? So we thought about this for a little while, and we came up with kind of 5 aspects that we all need to do. Number 1, we got to be smart. And this is whether you're the technology guy or whether you're the security guy trying to protect the technology, doesn't matter, right? Or you're the end user, you got to be smarter. The attackers are very smart. They're smarter than me, they're smarter than probably all of us, right? They're succeeding, if you haven't noticed. They're doing really well. That's not going to change. Right? We have to be smarter, we have to keep pace. The second thing is we need to be more open. We need to be open in knowing what the best methods are, in sharing information. We need to be building technologies that do the same and that are open. Right? We have to do that. Platforms, security standards, security communications. By the way, the bad guys, they share their information. They share their tools. They have for a long time. They'll help each other out. Do you help your peers out? Do you share with them? It's tough. And Marcus covered some of the reasons why. There's legal issues, there's reputation issues, there's all sorts of things. Right? But we have to be more open. If not, they have a distinct and will maintain a distinct advantage. The third thing, trust. Now think about that. When we buy a product, trust is kind of on our mind. I want a new car. And trust really isn't on the list of features that I'm looking for. But as technology integrates more into our lives, and we rely on it more and more and more, and as cyber attacks and so forth reach out and potentially can affect us and our children, not just our finances, not just spam, but actually affect us, put our lives in danger, trust has to go up. And whether we're a technology company and we're pushing out products, we need to make sure that those products are better, more secure. And that's kind of tough, especially in high tech, software and even hardware. We want to get it out to market as fast as possible. Security's that bolt-in afterthought. We'll patch it. It's good. We'll patch it. And the attackers are teaching us that methodology is not sustainable. They will win. So we have to get ahead of that. We have to change the rules in that space and instill more trust. And even if we're a service provider, we have to be more trustworthy with our customers' data, with the services. It's tough. It's going to cause change. The next one is strength, right? And this goes back to building good products, acting in good ways. We need to think ahead and know whatever we build, whatever we write, is going to be targeted. And if it's weak, it's easy. Even if it's strong, it may get undermined. But we have to build those principles in as we develop things, right? And it also goes for cooperation. We have to build the ties among us and in the security industry and everything else. And the last one is ubiquity. When it comes to data or services or hardware even, security has to follow it, has to follow the data, has to follow the service wherever it goes, whether it's being used, whether it's on your phone going to, to a network, whether it's going through the hardware, the operating system, the applications. Security has to be there. It doesn't have to be the same, but it has to be there. If the walls aren't up and there's an easy spot, it's just begging to be hurt. And we're not working that way. We're not working together. Are the hardware providers really working with the network and telecoms? Are the software providers really working with the operating system? And the operating system providers really working with the firmware and the hardware providers to make sure that there's good handoffs? We need to get better. The problem that we're all in and the world will feel more and more every single day needs to get fixed, needs to get better. But it's not a magic black box. It's not changing your passwords. It's a fundamental change in how we do business and how responsible we're going to be in running our companies, in building our products, and in delivering that and being the consumer of all of those. We have to change. So it's not just the bad guys. We have to change too.